time for us to do what we've been doing, and that time is every day. Russia is a bigger country. Russia is a powerful country. Russia decided to invade a smaller country called Ukraine. So basically, that's wrong. Get.
What's up, guys? Your boy Benny. The number one thing we do on this program is we are alive and we pay attention, okay? Pattern recognition. Ding, ding, ding. You can start to really see when things come together, and you can create truth out of that, right? You're able to see when a lot of data lines up, and you're able to make a good conclusion. The conclusion that I'm making is that Donald Trump's going to win. I think that Donald Trump will win. There's a lot of polls out there. It's like, whoa, Kamala Harris, she's doing so well. It's called a honeymoon. There's always a bit of a feeding frenzy. This happened to Donald Trump for years, actually, when Donald Trump dipped his toe into the political arena. There's always a feeding frenzy for clicks and for money in the press when there's a new candidate. And that is officially over as of today. The Washington Post is literally calling communist Kamala. It's crazy. But there's another pattern that I want to lay down for you so that you can see it the same way we see it. With all these rappers that are endorsing Donald Trump, sure, there's always been a good rapper vibe to Donald Trump, right? Successful billionaire, okay, icon, lots of gold. Donald Trump saying he wants to get a grill. But there's something else. Donald Trump is good for the economy, and people know it. And the reason why people are so shocked that Donald Trump's doing historically well with black men, for instance, something like 25 to 30% of black men polling for Donald Trump. Mitt Romney got 2% of black men. The reason why is that, well, Donald Trump's good for everyone, actually. It just really doesn't matter. You were alive and you noticed that your pocketbook was thicker with Trump and that things suck with Kamala. That's why rappers are actually dropping rap songs about Donald Trump. Kodak Black with a new Donald Trump song called On Board 47. Literally rapping about it. It's another rapper this week, Big X The Plug. Never heard of him. Call me a dork, call me a nerd, whatever. Never heard of him. Not huge rap fan. But he this is a big time rapper. This guy's really famous. And he was asked about Kamala Harris and goes,
or Donald Trump.
Oh, my partners made a lot of money with Donald Trump.
The $1,200 stimulus?
Kamala Harris is not African American. Donald Trump trying to help my people get their jobs back. Kamala Harris was never even a president. She was the sidekick.
Shay.
What you
there you go. This is why people like Kodak Black are wearing pieces like this. Look at this. Happy DJT. I love you, Donald Trump. There you go. This is the Trump piece that Kodak Black now has. This is why there are rap songs about Donald Trump from even before he ran for president that have racked up 213 million views. Mac Miller, RIP. Kodak Black and his signed MAGA hat. It's time, ladies and gentlemen. It's the cultural power of Trump. But the cultural power of Trump really extends to, is he good for all Americans? And the answer to that is yes. Yes, dominantly, he's good for all Americans. And communist Kamala is a communist, and she says she's a communist. Harris price controls proposal risks validating communist label, says liberal Washington Post columnist. Man, this is crazy. Check this out. So a liberal Washington Post columnist wrote this article saying, when your opponent calls you a communist, maybe don't propose price controls. Price controls are very bad. Price controls is when the government says, no, this good, whatever it is, this good, okay, this good, you got a little mug, can't be over this price. We're just going to tell you, no, you're not allowed to charge more than this. Whenever the government gets involved in the private sector, it destroys that sector. Look at what happened to healthcare. Look at what happened in the 2008 bubble with housing. How much wealth lost. How many people killed themselves. I mean, it's awful. When the government gets involved in these industries, they destroy them. Look what's happened to our education system in this country. Kamala Harris saying that there's going to be price controls is something that, of course, Venezuela, Cuba, all these Marxist nations do. Kamala Harris's father is a Marxist theologian, a professor, and a guy who writes about the evils of communism. You don't think that stuff like penetrated? You don't think that stuff like sunk in when you're raised in Quebec, which is where Kamala Harris was raised? Fact. But so when you hear her talking to Southern crowds with that obscene, pandering dialect, know that she was raised in Quebec. Okay, the hard streets of Quebec. I don't think that's how they parlez-vous français. So the Washington Post saying that Kamala Harris is owning the communist label. Pretty amazing, ladies and gentlemen. This is something that's being said across the spectrum. Here's the author herself.
Is already in the Senate, led by Senator Senate Warren and Senator Bob Casey and a slew of others. The particular way that this is written, which is likely to be the template for any proposal that Harris would eventually embrace, is especially bad in that it just bans excessive prices, grossly excessive profit margins, and says that the Federal Trade Commission can use any metric it deems appropriate to decide what that would mean, which basically says, like, it's not going to be markets, it's not going to be supply and demand that's determining how much your grocery store charges you for milk or for eggs. It's going to be some bureaucrat in DC, which seems like totally unworkable, first of all, for the FTC to be deciding like how much Kroger charges for eggs in Michigan. But it also would be very bad for markets. We've seen this kind of thing tried in lots of other countries before: Venezuela, Argentina, the Soviet Union, et cetera. It leads to shortages. It leads to black markets. Plenty of uncertainty. And beyond that, the specific way this bill is written might actually increase prices.
The reason why regulators exist is that they are deeply broken people who have no happiness, no joy, no families, no sex life. They get no joy out of life. They are broken, mentally ill individuals who wish to control you. I can't think of something worse than controlling another human. Could you think of something worse? I got 3 kids at home. It's exhausting, actually. Just like 3 little kids. They're like not old. They're 4 and under. These people want to control every little thing about your life. It's an illness. Again, they don't have their own families. They haven't made decisions that lead to happiness. And so they want misery for all. It's always the sign of the Marxists. Donald Trump said this yesterday, calling her Commie Kamala in his press
proposing communist price controls. She wants price controls. And if they worked, I'd go along with it too, but they don't work. They actually have the exact opposite impact and effect. But it leads to food shortages, rationing, hunger, dramatically more inflation. Their Inflation Reduction Act, by the way, was a disaster. It's what caused the inflation. Their Inflation Reduction Act was a con job. They actually admitted that it wasn't really for inflation that they did it. They don't know why they did it, but they named it the Inflation Reduction Act, which was a very nice name. Got approved based on that. Unfortunately, people didn't understand it. I understood it. I said that's going to cause tremendous inflation, and it did, among other things like energy. She's running on the Maduro plan. We call it the Maduro plan, like something straight out of Venezuela or the Soviet Union. This announcement is an admission that her economic policies have totally failed and caused really a catastrophe for our country, and beyond that, a catastrophe in the world.
They're not getting away with this. This is like, why do rappers support Trump? Why is Trump polling historically well with Latinos and black people? Because people know when they're doing well and when the government is sucking the life out of the economy. The Washington Post is running op-ed pieces slamming Kamala Harris as a communist. What a world. MSNBC slamming Kamala Harris as a communist. Bob Casey, this is a guy running for Senate in Pennsylvania. He has no answer when he has this op-ed read to him. He has no answer. The guy just sits there. Listen.
Senator, let me just read a quick passage from a piece in the I'll say a Kroger in Ohio, the acceptable price it can charge for milk. Curious how you respond to that from the Washington Post, and who exactly decides when a price at the grocery store in Ohio is excessive?
Well, it's really not at the grocery store level. This is at the corporate level, Willie.
Oh, okay. Oh, got it. It's not at a grocery store. Trust me. Trust me. We want says that. Okay. There was no income tax. This year, depending on where you live, approximately half your income will be stolen by the government. 100 years ago, there was no income tax in America for anybody. I'm telling you, if I were to go back into the founding of this country and I were to like whisper into the ears of the founding fathers, there's a lot of stuff I'd be like, put in this document, please. But putting in like a ban on the income tax, you want to talk about the thing that would help the American people the very most to this day? That would be one of the things. I'd whisper, I'd be like, income tax is illegal. Put it in there. Right between the First and Second Amendment. No income tax. Income taxes will always be illegal. Kamala has now a total of 4 policy proposals: stealing President Trump's no tax on tips, stealing J.D. Vance's tax credit for parents, implementing communist prices for food, which will make food a lot more expensive and cause rationing, giving new homeowners $25,000, which will make housing more expensive due to subsidized demand. Idiots. Comrade Kamalas. It's called Commie Kamalas, not Comrade Kamalas. Come on, people. Get your messaging right, Comrade Kamala. Just let me run these accounts. Kamala Harris today talking about communist price controls at her little event.
And I will work to pass the first ever federal ban on price gauging on food.
Price gauging? Price gagging? Price gauging? What the hell are you talking about? Look at this. Kamala Harris officially announces Soviet-style price controls. A vote for Kamala is a vote for literal communism. She wants to turn America into Venezuela. Donald Trump, on the other hand, is up on TikTok dropping bangers.
This is the cost of food. This is the cost of your basics. Every single thing is up. Eggs up 48%. Cookies up 27%. Look at what's going on. Butter up 31%. And this is just the beginning. It's a disaster.
Yeah. So, Kamala, stop flying. This is her event right now. And you never know these things. Like, how much capacity they have. But holy smokes, like this is quite a throw from the rallies they were having. And I put quotes around that because, as we have shown you and demonstrated on this program, her support is fake. There are dozens of influencers, some of them huge, some of them the biggest streamers in the world, some of them just like smaller TikTokers, that say that the Kamala Harris campaign or the DNC or dark money Democrat-aligned groups are trying to pay them to support Kamala Harris. Doing everything to pay them to support Kamala. It's astroturfed. They bust people in. That's a fact. That's been reported. They bust people in. These are union members. These are a lot of people who lose their jobs. These are public sector workers, right? Who are part of public sector unions. That's how they get these crowds. And now look. Honeymoon over, baby. Back to Trump. Give me that Trump. Donald Trump getting rap songs about him. You want to know why? More than anything, he's good for the economy. More of that. It's your boy Benny. Like, share, and subscribe to defeat communism.